လူခဲ့တဲ့နေ့တွေကအနုပဿနာအကြောင်းပြောတော့ပါတယ်မနေ့ကကာယအကြောင်းပြောတော့ပါတယ်ရုပ်ကာယကြီးပေါ်မှာရုပ်ကာယရေလို့ဖမ္မတ္တရှိနေခြင်းကာယ အနုပဿနာလို့ခေါ်ပါတယ်တနေ့ဝေဒနာစိတ်ဓမ္မတို့မှာလည်းပဲဝေဒနာ အနုပဿနာစိတ်ဓာတ် အနုပဿနာဓမ္မ အနုပဿနာဆိုတာသူအမြည်ရတော့မှာပါပဲဒီအနုပဿနာဆိုတာအဖန်ဖန်တတရှုတယ်ဆိုတာကဘယ်ပေါ်မှာရှုတာလဲဆိုတော့ယုတ်ကာယပေါ်မှာအဲဒီယုတ်ကာယကသူ့မှာတဘာဝအထည်ကိုယ်ကြီးတဘာဝတရားတွေရှိတယ်ဘယ်ယုတ်မျိုးဆိုမမြဲတာရှိပဲမြဲတဲ့ယုတ်ရလို့ရှိဘူးပေါ်ပြီးတော့ပြောက်သွားတာကြီးပေါ်ပြီးတော့ပြောက်တဲ့ဟာဒုက္ခကြီးပဲဒါသူကသူအကြောက်တိုက်စီလို့သူကသူပေါ်ပြီးတော့ပြောက်သွားတာပဲဘယ်မှလုတ်ပြီးတော့မဟုတ်ဘူးဘယ်တကူရှိရမှလည်းမလုတ်နိုင်ဘူးတကူရှိရလက်အောက်ကဘယ်အတ္တကမှလုတ်မပြီးနိုင်ဒီတော့ကာယမှန်သမျှဟာနိစ္စဒုက္ခအနတ္တအစုပဆိုတာပါမမျက်စိရဲ့သဘောပဲဆိုတာမတည့်တယ်မဖွယ်တာပဲဆိုတာသူ့ဘာသူအမြည်ရနေတာ
In the past days, Sayadaw-ji has spoken about anupassana, and yesterday he spoke about this in relationship to kaya. So this big rupa kaya, repeated observation of kaya is kaya-nupassana. And it is the same with Vedana, Chitta, and Dhammas. Each of these are repeatedly observed. So there's Vedana-nupassana, Chitta-nupassana, Dhamma-nupassana. Kaya-nupassana. Anupassana means repeated observation. Where do we repeatedly observe? We repeatedly observe the rupa kaya, the group of physical elements, to see the true nature, sabhava. None of these are permanent. None of these physical things we observe are permanent. They all arise and then pass away. What arises and then passes away is dukkha. It's not good. And no one makes this arise and pass away. No one makes it the way it is. There's no control of a supreme being. All kaya is anicca. All kaya is dukkha. All kaya is anatta. All kaya is asubha. That is, it is impermanent. It is unsatisfactory. It is without a self. And it is not pleasant. So it gains these names by itself. So to see clearly these qualities, every time kaya arises, we have to observe it. And at first, we apply a label. When there's rising, we label it as rising when we observe. When we observe falling, we make the label falling. Same with sitting or touching, bending, stretching, lifting, moving, placing. All the actions that we do with the body, we observe them and we apply the name at the same time when we start the practice. But when we observe a lot, then the form and the shape of the physical stuff disappears. And so does the manner or position. So we come to see the true nature as it is. What we observe is sabhava, and the observation is also sabhava. One is knowing what is really there as it is. At that time, there's no more labeling needed. The object arises, and there's the knowing of it. The object arises, and there's the knowing of it. Just that. So, we have to observe the body repeatedly every time something arises in order to know sabhava. Today, Sayadaw would like to explain what are the components, what are the parts, or the essence of this repeated observation. The Buddha had a strong chanda, or desire, for beings to know the true Dhamma. And because of this strong desire, the Buddha explained the benefits of the practice. When one understands the benefits of the practice, then one feels inspired to practice. Faith is awakened, and one has desire to undertake the practice. So this is, first of all, what happens. There's osaha, is this desire to apply the practice. So the Buddha would first give an introduction that summarized the sutta. This is called odesa. And then he would expand upon that, which is called nidesa. And then he would go further in explaining with providing various examples. And this is called the Piti Nidesa in Pali. So the Satipatthana Sutta is the basis for this practice of Satipatthana. And so far we've just been talking about the introduction, the introductory part of it. So the Buddha talks about ida bhekkhave bhikkhu kaye kayanupassi viharati atapi sampajano satima, and so on. So this is from the introductory part of the Satipatthana Sutta, kaye kayanupassi viharati. This means that we observe the kaya repeatedly. We observe this field of observation called kaya repeatedly. So what is observation? And what is repeated observation? So there needs to be some essence to this, or substance. And so the Buddha described this in 3 words: atapi sampajano satima. These 3 words show the essence of satipatthana and anupassana, repeated observation. So today Sayadaw will explain in theory and practice. In the introductory Pali, the Buddha uses the word anupassi, and from this word we get the word anupassana. Anupassi describes a person. It's an adjective. And anupassana is true nature. Anupassana is what is done. what the person with anupasi does. So the essence of anupasana is atapi and satima and sampajano. That means intense effort, virya, and steadfast mindfulness, steadfast sati, and clear discriminating knowledge. These three factors make up anupasana. Kaya has the name Rupa Kaya, or group of physicality, but its basic nature, what it really is anicca, because it arises and passes away. Its nature is that it is impermanent. And it also is called dukkha, because it is not satisfactory. It is also called anatta. It is also called asubha. So this kaya, this physical kaya, is like a person who has four names. And Vedana, Chitta, Dhamma, these also have these four names. So, observation to see this kaya, which is both anicca, impermanent, dukkha, unsatisfactory, anatta, without a self, asubha, not elegant, not suitable. The observation to see it as it is what we are trying to do. We are trying to observe like this. And for this type of observation, we can't do it without some type of forces. We need to have some energies gathered together to do this. And the forces that we need to have observation are intense virya, intense effort, firm sati, and clear, distinct knowledge.
Atapi suraga pintane uriya shitu piyame. Pintane uriya suraga Edlu pintane uriya mishi usolo cheye. Jungya the watch of our chili, Jung and Tiari of my body. Taya was written in it in Lucia, Taya Raga Kititadi, so solar. Mozia in it in Lucia, never Momu Dotari body, she long chalet to look at it so solar. Langy people thought it the Baba Tiari, Pika Levito, Michu, Mati solution, and level. Moha si young had the Gadego, Penny or Piete machine. Little here about that. Did a Nimude Sabita something would see out? Jamu, Namu, Samu, Timu, that is Sabita, something who did she will yard. A painter asked what a lover. Pieta asai pama kona kotisa kore a piena moemava, pimu moemava. Pimita na amsa busuluchi and kotisa garo, say yo yefu garo. Era Yera Pini Maba. Yo yere say the Atolo bear doma di Tiarumia. Go let Yame, Tati Malay choked so yo yere see 30 Jone alone. At least 8 times in the Ludo of Bedomia. Pimitan Atoa. Pitana Wodia is used to reach Kuna go Boa Pisi Nima. It is so dirty, we had under the one it ever. The Aditi so dirty go. Chow to see it. Swantati see that the Agaro Atapa Luna Wodia. Pimintana Ato, Pimintana Ato to Eddie, so that he went out. Era Yijiva.
It is said atapi. That means one with ardent effort, one with intense effort. When we say ardent, intense effort, that means that if we don't have that type of effort, then when we encounter mind and matter, rupa and nama, at the 6 sense doors, if the object is something pleasant, then kilesas will make our mind wet and soggy. If it's something that can arouse anger, then kilesas will also make our mind damp. They will make our mind wet and soaked. So, and also, if we don't observe at the moment of arising, there will be delusion. So, moha also will be flowing like a river. So we have to have restraint in seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, thinking. And for this, we need to apply ardent, intense effort. When we apply intense effort, ardent effort, then kosaja, the laziness, will not enter the mind. We can't let ourselves be slack. We can't have a mind that is kind of withdraws. Because if we do, then we can't have that type of slackness or withdrawing mind. We should have no fear for our life when we practice. So we need this type of ardent, intense effort. Without it, the dampness of kilesas will always be coming into our mind stream, into our being. To dry this up, to dry up the dampness of the kilesas, we need to have hot, ardent effort, and this is very important.
Eri atapa lungla uriya ha. Kilita ki punui tuichau si nai ne. Kipyau si nai ne soi tati shi bara. Miera aputa shi. Buddha ka so lo shi aso tati ko tu ha tuichau ang pi lu pi tate, kipyau ang pi lu pi tate. Eri Buddha kaတရားထုတ်တဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်တွေမှာယာဂဒေါသမောဟကိလေသာတွေတီလနဲ့ကျွလွန်မှုတွေကိုရှောင်တိမ်ပယ်စိတ်ထဲမှာဖြစ်နေတဲ့ကိလေသာတွေကိုတော့ရှောင်တိမ်ပယ်တဲ့နည်းရှိကာကွယ်ကုစားပယ်တဲ့နည်းနဲ့လုပ်ရမှာပါကာကွယ်တယ်ဆိုတာကာကွယ်ရေးကောင်းမှအားရှိမှကာကွယ်လို့ရတာပါကျစိတ်မှာအားထည့်ပြရတယ်အဲ့ဒီအားကတော့ပူနွေးတိချောက်ကင်းပြောက်စီနိုင်တဲ့ဝိရိယစွမ်းအားတဲ့အဲ့ဒီစွမ်းအားဝိရိယစွမ်းအားဟာကိလေသာအဆူစေးစိတ်ကြီးကြီးတွေကိုသူကတော့ပူနွေးတိချောက်စီနိုင်တဲ့စွမ်းရည်တတ်ရှိတယ်အဲ့ဒါထည့်ပြရပါတယ်
Atapa virya, or this ardent effort, has the power to heat things up. It heats up and dries up the kilesas. We need to have this heat. So things that are hot, heat can dry up what is damp, moist, soggy, and eliminate the moisture. Practicing yogis are avoiding transgressions by keeping sila. They're avoiding gross kilesas. But there needs to be a method for protecting the mind. So we have to have, part of protecting the mind is to put some energy into the mind. And the energy that we need to put in is that of virya, courageous effort. This effort, virya, can dry up the damp of the kilesas. And so to get this, we have to fill our minds with this virya.
အဲ့ဒီဝိရိယကို၄ပိုင်းပိုင်းထားပါရဲ့အဲ့ဒီ၄ပိုင်းဆိုတာကတော့ဣတိတညစ်ကြေးစိတ်အကြည်ကြီးတွေကိုမဖြစ်ရအောင်ပေါ့လေအားဆက်ရမှာဖြစ်ပေါ်မလာရအောင်အားဆက်ရမှာအားဆက်တဲ့ကြားတွေကဖြစ်လာပြီဆိုလို့ရှိရင်လည်းအဲ့ဒါကိုပယ်ရှားနိုင်ဖို့ရအတွက်ပဲအားဆက်ရမှာနောက်တရှင်းတဲ့စိတ်အစဉ်လေးတွေဖြစ်ဖို့ရလည်းပဲကုသိုလ်စိတ်ကလေးတွေဖြစ်ဖို့ရလည်းပဲအားဆက်ရမှာဖြစ်တဲ့ကုသိုလ်တရားတွေပေါ့လေတဖြည်းဖြည်းတိုးလာအောင်ပွားလာအောင်များလာအောင်ဒါလည်းပဲကုသိုလ်စိတ်အားဆက်ရပါတယ်ဒီတော့ဝိရိအတ္တပလုံလဝိရိယဆိုတာအမိတစ်မျိုးနဲ့ဖြစ်ပေမဲ့လို့ဒီကာကွယ်တိလေးဟာဒီကာကွယ်ဖို့ဖြစ်တဲ့ဟာတွေလည်းပဲမကောင်းတာတွေကိုလည်းပဲအလားတူမဖြစ်ရအောင်ပယ်ဖို့မဖြစ်သေးတဲ့တန်ရှင်းမှုတွေဖြစ်ပေါ်အောင်ဖြစ်လက်စားကိုလည်းပဲတိုးပွားအောင်ဆိုတာပေါ့လေအချင်းရအားဖြင့်၄မျိုးရှိပါတယ်ခုယောဂီတွေအားထုတ်နေတာဖောင်းမှုပွေမှုကအစပေါ်သမျှအာယုန်ဒီစီစိတ်ကလေးရောက်သွားအောင်ပေါ့လေတွန်းအားပေးနေတာအဲတွန်းအားပေးနေတော့တွန်းအားကအာယုံမှာကတ်သွားပြီဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ခုနစိတ်ရော်ရဲမှုကြောင့်ဖြစ်နိုင်တဲ့အာဟုသူဖြစ်ခွင့်မရတော့စိတ်အငြိကြေးဖြစ်ခွင့်မရတော့တကယ်လို့ဖြစ်လာပြီဆိုလို့ရှိရင်လည်းနောက်ထပ်အလားတူဒီမဖြစ်ရအောင်ပို့ပြီးတော့ကိုဖောင်းပွေမှုအစရှိတဲ့အာယုံပေါ်မှာကတ်အောင်လို့တွန်းအားပေးရတယ်အဲ့ဒါလိုညီကျေးလေးကိဝိစီကျတဲ့တန်ရှင်းတဲ့စိတ်ကလေးပေါ်လေးဖြစ်စပြုလာပြီဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ဖြစ်စပြုအောင်လည်းအားထုတ်ရတာပဲဖြစ်စပြုလာပြီဆိုလို့ရှိရင်အဲ့ဒီတန်ရှင်းတဲ့စိတ်ကလေးတွေထက်ခါဖြစ်ဖို့ဖြစ်လက်စရှိလာပြီဆိုတိုးလာဖို့ပွားလာဖို့များလာဖို့ဒါပြုလုပ်ဖို့ဒါလည်းအရေးကြီးပါတယ်တော့အဲ့ဒါကိုပဲအထုတ်တယ်လို့ခေါ်ပါတယ်အဲ့ဒီတန်ရှင်းတဲ့စိတ်ကလေးတွေဖြစ်လက်စရှိလာပြီဆိုလို့ရှိရင်တိုးအောင်ပွားအောင်များအောင်ပေါ့လေပြုလုပ်တဲ့သဘောကိုပဲဒါတရားအထုတ်တယ်လို့ခေါ်တာပါပဲ
Virya, or effort, has 4 parts. The first part of this effort is to apply energy to prevent unwholesomeness from arising in the mind. And the second part of effort is to dispel the defilements if they arise. The third part is to cause wholesomeness to arise in the mind. And the fourth part is to cause the clean mind that has arisen to become bigger, stronger, and to increase it. So there are these 4 parts to effort. Atapi is the name that we use for this type of ardent effort, but it does 4 different things. 1, prevent unwholesomeness from arising. 2, remove unwholesomeness if it does arise. 3, it causes the wholesome mind to arise. And 4, it causes this wholesome mind to become bigger and better, stronger. So it has these 4 functions. When we use mental effort to push the mind to the object, if the mind reaches the object and sticks to the object, then kilesas can't occur. But then we have to do it again. We have to push the mind with virya to get to the object. We have to do this again and again so that kilesas don't come in. So each time we do this, the mind is clean. We create this clean mind by our first initial effort, and then we enlarge it. We make it occur again and again by repeatedly applying effort to observe the object, to get the mind to the object. And this is called, if you translate it literally, it means producing Dhamma energy. But it's the Burmese word for meditation practice. But you could say mental development or development of mental energy. Atapa means intense effort or virya. When we say intense, it means that we push the mind so that sati will stick to the object. When the mind reaches the object because of the push that comes from virya, sati sticks to the object. So we can't be casual. We have to apply energy. And this is atapa. Atapa is also called virya. Virya means courageous effort. It means the effort that we make to push the mind to the object when kaya arises, to make sati stick to that object. When we do this many times, this is anupassana, repeated observation. On every object of observation that arises in our being, for sati to stick to the object, we need to have virya. And for this, our desire, our chanda, to be able to do this needs to be strong. Only then will our effort, virya, be strong too. So for chanda, for there to be desire or zeal, then there has to be some faith and trust. Faith in the benefits of the Satipatthana practice. Sayadaw spoke about these. The first benefit that is gained is purity of mind, and this is the essential benefit. This is the most important. And once we know that these are the benefits, first one has to know what the benefits are of the practice, and then one has to have faith and confidence in these benefits. So listen first to know what the benefits are of the practice, and then one needs to have trust. And after that, there will be strong desire to get the benefits. There needs to be a strong desire, chanda. If with all this, the knowledge of the benefits, faith in the benefits, and the desire to get them, the desire to get purity of mind, as well as the other benefits of the practice, if one comes to the practice at that point, one will apply intense effort in order to gain the benefits. So this is the most, this should be there. This type of intense effort should be there based on understanding of the benefits of the practice, faith and confidence in the practice, desire to get the benefits, and strong effort. So the yogis who are practicing now should please look at yourselves and ask yourselves, do you understand what benefits this practice has? And do you have faith that these benefits are attainable? Do you have the desire to get the benefits, starting with purity of mind? So with this good basis, then effort without regard for one's life will occur with this good basis. So this factor is the most important factor of anupassana, repeated observation. In the introductory Pali, the Odesa, the word jhana is not mentioned, but later in the Mega Nidesa, vipassana jhana is implied, is indicated. Jhana has 5 or 6 parts, and these are vitakka, vichara, piti, sukha, ekagata, and upekkha. So right now, Sayadaw wants to explain vitakka, the first jhanic factor. The nature of vitakka is to aim and focus, to aim the way we aim when we're trying to throw something at a target. We need to have intense virya, the effort to push the mind to the object when the object arises. But sometimes our effort is weak, and then the mind doesn't reach the object. Sometimes our effort is excessive, it's too much. So then we miss the object. That's why aiming is also needed in addition to virya. So we need to not only push the mind to the object, but we need the factor of aiming to make our mind accurate. So we need this in order to get the mind to the arising object, to make the mind concurrent with the object, to make it meet the object exactly. So this factor of vitakka, aiming, it makes the mind blossom. It makes the mind open and fresh. Tina mida, or sloth and torpor, makes the mind contract. It makes the mind shrink. But vitaka makes the mind open and it makes it blossom. So this jhanic factor of vitaka has to be there. And we also need intense effort to get the mind to the object. So these two, both intense effort to get the mind to the object and the aiming factor of vitaka, if these two are present, then sati will occur naturally. We don't have to do anything special to make sati occur if we have effort and aiming. When sati starts to become apparent, then the mind becomes concentrated. Naturally, samadhi arises. Again, we don't have to do anything special. Just keep on aiming and making effort. So what is important is to starting with the rising and the falling, to observe every arising object with effort to get the mind to the object, and aiming so that our mind is accurately placed on the object. Virya overcomes laziness, and with the aiming, our mind becomes fresh. Our mind blossoms. So Sayadaw asked the yogis to ask themselves, are these two factors present? If they aren't, if virya and vitaka, effort to get the mind to the object, and aiming so that the mind is in focus, if these two factors are not present, then sati will not arise. Without sati, samadhi will not arise. Without samadhi, there will be no knowledge. So if yogis are taking a long time in the practice, it's because these two factors are not there. And this can be because of lack of faith in the practice, lack of desire to get the benefits. If one doesn't have faith, but lets doubt come in, if one reflects on, instead of just trying to observe with effort and accurate aim every time an object arises, then there's no way that knowledge will develop. Yogis should have intense effort and accurate aim to observe every single object of observation, beginning with the rising and the falling, whatever arises. One should have intense effort to push the mind to the object, and aiming, vitaka, so that the mind meets exactly with the object. These two factors are what is most important. Everything else will follow if these two factors are present. Sati, mindfulness of the object; samadhi, the collected mind; panya, knowledge. All these will arise with these two factors of intense effort and accurate aim. So as indicated by the word anupassana, one needs to observe repeatedly. Every second of the time, one should be applying applying effort to observe the object, aiming to make the mind meet up accurately with the object. Virya conquers laziness. It can get the upper hand over laziness. And vitaka is the opposite of sloth and torpor. So if we have these two, if a yogi has these two factors every second of the time, then the yogi will progress in a short time. It is very clear. So Sayadaw urges the yogis to have these two factors every single second of the time. Tomorrow, Sayadaw has to go to Tenlian, so there won't be any talk. But on the following day, the day after tomorrow, if he returns early enough, he'll give a talk. That's all for today. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.